So for the hand and the wrist, you're gonna want a ruler and a rubber band for what we're about to do. So first what we're gonna do is we're gonna start stretching out the muscles that are part of the forearm. So you're gonna grab your hand, make sure that it's below where your knuckles are, and you wanna lightly pull it down just to feel a stretch. If you're not feeling much of a stretch here, you can then go onto your desk, place your hand here, feeling a nice stretch here, and then as I'm pulling my arm back, I'm gonna feel a further stretch. So again, we don't want to put too much force, especially since we've got some sensitive bones here, our carpal bones in our wrist, but just enough that we're feeling a stretch. You're gonna hold there for 10 seconds, again, here or here, and then we're gonna switch sides doing the same thing for 10 seconds. We're gonna do it twice. You'll notice that the second time you may get a little bit more range here. Again, you can see my elbow is nice and straight. And repeating it on the opposite side. Once you've done 10 and 10, then we're gonna go on to the opposite side. So again, you wanna make sure that you're not on the fingers, you're below where that knuckle is, taking that hand and pulling it back. Now this may be enough of a stretch for you. If not, we can go back onto the desk, have your hand here, and I'm leaning myself back until I feel a stretch into my forearm there. Again, 10 seconds before we switch sides, and then we're gonna lean back. Once you've counted to 10, switch sides. Maybe we get a little bit more range of motion here. And flip sides again. So we're gonna add on to this stretch here in a second. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have our hand here and we're gonna actually peel off the palm of our hands into our fingers. You're gonna feel a nice stretch into the fingers and hold. After you're done 10 seconds, bring the palm back down and we're going to peel that palm back up. The thumb's gonna come up with it, feeling a nice stretch into all 4 fingers. And let's do one more just because it feels so good. Pulling back, feeling a nice stretch into all of your fingers. We're going to repeat that now on the opposite side. So your hand is here. We're going to lean back, feeling a nice stretch into the fingers and hold. And bring that palm back down. Peel the palm back up and hold. You don't have to hold your fingers down. You just want to make sure that your fingers aren't peeling off as you're bringing that palm up. One more, bring that palm down and pull it back. Now, just because we stretch these fingers, now we want to create some strength. So we're going to do some finger push-ups here. So both your hands are on the desk here, and what you're going to do is you're going to go onto your tippy toes here and push into the fingers and come back down. Push into the fingers, and the more I lean on top of it, the more I'm going to feel that. You want your fingers to be engaged here, so I am thinking about pushing myself back. Good. Next, we're going to sit and we're going to stretch in between the fingers here. So all you're going to do is take your hands, and then you want to separate the fingers, feeling a nice stretch. We're going to hold for a few seconds here. And switch sides. So again, separating and holding. And separating and holding. And the thumb, you can just pull till you feel that stretch. Same thing on the opposite side. Next, we're going to bring each finger backwards. You should feel a nice stretch. Again, you're not forcing anything, just enough where you're feeling a good stretch. Doing this with each finger. So with the thumb, last time we were doing this, now we're going to pull it back. You're going to feel more of a stretch here. Repeating that on the opposite side. So same thing, because we just stretched it. Next, we're going to work on the strengthening part. And again, feeling a nice stretch. So for the strengthening, you're going to lean on top of your fingers and you're going to try to lift up the pinky. You're not going to see a whole lot of motion from back there, but you're basically trying to get the strength there. What you can do is you can actually lift up your finger to the end range and see if you can hold it there. And that's how you're going to gain the strength in the fingers here. Make sure as you're doing this, you're not leaning back to get the range of motion. You do want to be over top so that we're actually working the strength of the fingers. You're going to notice the thumb's probably the easiest out of all of them. And usually the ring finger is the hardest. Again, you can always use your finger and let go to see if you can maintain some of that range. And relax. So next, this is where the ruler comes in handy, and if you've got an arm to the chair, we're going to work on radial and ulnar deviation. So with having the ruler, you can kind of see the plane of motion that we're working here. So you're going to pull back and hold, and then you're going to push down and hold. If you need a little bit of an added stretch, you can either pull on the ruler or pull on the wrist and hold. And then what I like to do is I'll actually push out of it so that I can create some strength. Once I get there, then I'll add in the stretch. Again, I'll push out of it into my hand, and then I assist with the stretch. And again, the ruler is not necessary. The ruler just really helps to make sure that you're staying in the plane of motion, that you're not wrist flexion or extending as you're going into those motions. One more each. And repeat on the opposite side. So again, bringing that up and holding, pushing out of it, switching sides to add in that stretch, making sure that the elbow stays down the entire time. So again, using the ruler just to show you the range of motion. From the elbow, we can do supination pronation, but we want to add in the stretch here. So again, you can hold onto the ruler or you can hold onto your wrist. As you rotate, you're going to feel a little bit of a stretch. Now, if you don't feel it this way, if you have a longer stick, you can actually use it as a lever. So here, I can actually pull onto the stick here to feel a more in-depth stretch. And coming out of it. You can even use your foot here to put some pressure into it. And if you're in the office, I guess if you have a broom, you could use it. Or you could even just go and get a wooden dowel from Home Depot or Lowe's and just have it at your workstation, especially if you're experiencing any elbow or wrist issues. And we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side here. So you're going to twist, keeping that elbow down and holding. Okay, shake out those wrists. So another strengthening exercise, if you've got a rubber band, is just to expand. If it's too loose of a rubber band, you can always twist and hold it. And you want to open up, holding that for a couple seconds before you come back down. This is another variation of just having your hands straight and then lifting up the fingers. It's still working those finger extensors. This is always good to do if you're on a work call. You can strengthen the fingers while you're listening. It's kind of like a fidget spinner. Now we've done a lot of finger extension, but we haven't done a lot of finger flexing. So what I like to do there is we've got 3 different knuckles. So I'll actually push the top knuckle, push the second knuckle, and then push the third knuckle. And I hold there just for enough that I can feel like a pretty solid contraction, just because there's so many different knuckles to go through. Now, of course, you can always pause the video and spend a little bit more time. This is always a great one to do if you are on a call or you're having to read something. You can do this without really thinking about it and spend a little bit more time working on each one of those finger flexors. And then another good one is just trying to curl, kind of you curl the pinky and then the ring and then the middle, pointer and thumb. Just working on that range of motion. You can see I'm actually having a harder time keeping that pinky down. And you can always do it in reverse as well. Just making sure that we've got good control over each one of our digits. You can do them at the same time. Okay, and then we're going to do some wrist circles here. So you can do wrist circles individually. You can grab onto your wrist and make sure that you've got full range in the circle, or you can actually grab onto both hands and then do some circles with the hands, whatever feels best. I think it just depends on the day on which version I like better. Doing one at a time really shows you where you can be limited. I'm very limited right here, so that would be a good spot for me to kind of hang out, making sure that I'm regaining range of motion in that area. Okay, the last 2 stretches of the day, we're going to go into a prayer position here. As the palms come down our chest, our elbows are going to go up towards the ceiling, feeling a nice stretch and holding. Then we're going to do a reverse one where the fingers go down, elbows go up, and then, sorry, elbows go down, but the wrists go up towards the ceiling. And switch. And switch. And just shake that out. And your wrist should feel really loose, maybe some more blood flow there. Yeah, let me know in the comments below how you like that one.